Hello, and welcome to another episode of
The Smut Club,
the podcast where
smut is better with friends.
And we have two friends.
Yay, pals.
Brandon and Savannah are here with us.
We're back together.
Both read this book, and we
today we
forced them to do this with us.
There was some force and coercion involved.
Mm-hmm. I bought the book on Audible for Brandon, and I said, you are going to read this book.
Correct.
I think that was a reasonable way to...
You opened it up, said, oh, already got it. One credit
oops.
used.
You gotta do it.
It's only 11 hours, Brendan, do it. And I said, okay.
Yeah. 11 hours is short for an audiobook.
It's short.
Truly. Yes, so... funny
What
story.
speed? I'm sorry. Can we just pause? Because
Well, let's
2.5.
Here.
Can we just go to the very first one? I'm sorry, Katie, don't cut this
Play
out. This is
chapter
important.
1.
Yes, of 2.5.
Don't
of
tell
this
me you
book.
have it on like one-time speed.
I have it 1.2.
I do.
I think
I do.
God.
1.2 to me.
Yeah.
They're rambling so fast. How can you keep up?
crazy
You. Okay, here we go. So I'm doing 1.2 like a normal person.
Hey, kiddo. Sorry to take off like this. Got a once in a
Sounds normal to
lifetime
me.
Okay,
Yeah.
so this is
2.5.
oh, Jesus Christ.
Look, I'm a busy girly.
2.5.
And my brain goes...
Tell you all about it on our way back through town. Will you be around in October? Would love to see what an up north fall looks
Oh,
like.
I
Miss you
hate
already.
it. Like,
Love,
I
Dad, and
just,
Starfire.
it like makes me
It's the same
skin
dad.
itch.
The one
Like,
one thing.
I'm
I love
putting
it.
my headphones up.
Okay.
I'm
fucking hate
I'm
I
anywhere
fucking hate
between.
it.
I'm a 1.75 or a 2-time speed girl.
So this is 1.5.
Stick around as long as you'll have us, but does
It's
another.
fine, I guess.
But that's not what bothers me about the letter.
1.5 is normal.
What bothers me is one
Pretty
word.
normal.
This
October.
sounds like normal
And the
talking
low,
speed to
yearning
me.
ache I feel between my ribs.
Listen,
I start to
sometimes
cry.
I'm up
Then,
here.
of course, I call Mom. Calm down, she says,
One
as
moment.
blackberry. Tell me everything. Finally, I do. It's still dark and damp when I need Harvey at the front doors on Saturday morning. We're both dressed down in anticipation.
Okay, I can't even hear that.
Yeah, it like, it really...
I've listened to many book on 3 times speed.
Yeah, I can't even hear that. I can't make sense of the words. But the 2-time speed, I live on 2-time
Now listen,
speed.
my heart rate all the way through. Yeah,
it makes
do
my
I
skin itch.
feel
I just-
good?
Yeah.
1.2 is a great.
1.2 is what I do.
You actually can hear it. You can feel it. I feel like.
Back
just-
in the day when we were reviewing a book a week on the pod for our
A book a
for
week.
our listeners, a book a week on the pod. That was when I really was living on 2.5 through 3 speed.
Oh my god. Oh
Yeah,
my
I love
God.
it. I love a 1.75. I like a comfortable 1.75.
And I was on the way back from work and I had to bring a couple people with me to go fix that certain place. And like, I was like, hey, I really want to listen to my audiobook because I had to get it done in time. And so all of them put on AirPods in so I could put mine in. Let's keep in mind what was coming in this book I wasn't ready for. So I kept it in my lobes, went in the gas station to get an energy drink, came back and it connected back to my car and it was mid-erection.
Woo!
Like,
Oh, yeah.
whoopsie! I shut that down
I hope
so
everyone
fast.
said thank you.
Yeah.
for this great
Did they
book
laugh?
No, it quickly said, it was like, come here, but it was that word. And I was like, ah! And I stopped it so fast, like, just, yeah, not
Like
screaming.
talk really loud over it.
Yes. And I
Nobody
quickly-
listen.
AirPod, thank you. Yeah. Yeah. Anyways.
It brings me so much joy when people have the heebie-jeebies about smut.
Well, those
So
are,
I'm like, oh, what part of it?
I work with
That's
them, so that's where it's like the level
A
of like,
professional setting.
yeah.
Well,
Did you tell them it was for the smut podcast?
No, I didn't say that.
I,
Just listen to audiobook.
I gave my department chair just like a whole bag of smut. She texted me and she was like, do you have any book recommendations? Like,
Sure do.
What books are you reading? And I was like, do you want my actual recommendations? And so I
I have books that are worth
just
your
gave
time.
her a whole bag, and I was like, these are purely summertime,
yeah.
zero thinking books.
What's like the smuttiest of smut, clubbiest of club of smut that you've ever read? Like the
that.
like the boner of biggest boners.
The hockey one with no plot.
Probably hockey with no plot, where there was
hockey with-
like 80s sex scenes.
Meet Your Match was pretty fucking dirty.
That's why when my
That's
friend
your
was
all-time.
into
Oh, I don't know. Like, it's hard for me to know because I've read some like straight garbage that I just don't remember because there was not a single thread of plot.
Writing, and I'm thinking of the time when it was like the nanny or like a fake girlfriend, and he was a millionaire, and the bathrobe in the hall.
Oh,
I loved that
one's a
one.
Megan Quinn.
I loved that
can't,
one.
I can never think of the
That
name
one
when
was
you ask
filthy
me.
dirty.
But
Yeah.
on the roof and
Yes, in the rain,
Yes,
and he
yes,
was full
yes,
of clothes, and she.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That was a little age gap romance too.
Yeah. It's a Megan Quinn, and I can't think of
Billionaire
it right now. Y'all
situation.
are probably screaming it, but yeah.
So y'all prefer
She
where
was
there's like
too,
a lead
let me
up to
tell
it,
you.
Yeah.
and then there's really good action, and then
is-
there's more.
It is the question of every smut reader, like how does one rate smut content? It is truly so subjective. We can rate it on so many scales.
Well, is it like you can't put it
Explicitity-
down how fast you read it?
Well, yeah, that's an idea. But like, how many chili peppers? It's so subjective.
Yeah. It's like, 5 chili peppers for one person could be like 2 for another.
Yeah, I went to a book club for Bride at our local bookstore. It was so cute. with
Point
my
pepper
friend.
for me.
And it was Bride. They did like 3 or 4 chili peppers.
Which is, I mean, that book's pretty dirty.
But like other people were like, that's not high enough. That's super low. For
Yeah.
It's so subjective. It's so subjective. So-
Now I'm thinking of
But there was only like one sex scene.
Faking
two.
with Benefits with the 3 boys.
Yeah, when we think of like reverse harem.
Yeah, like that's
Like,
pretty.
3 boys.
3 boys, 1 girl, center of attention.
And then they all got married. That was fun.
Yeah.
So that probably is our dirtiest on
my
the
God.
on the pod.
But we've privately read stuff that's
After I read Happy Place, I read Pucking Around, which is also like
Fantastic.
3 boys, 1 girl, and it was like page 7. I was like, oh my god.
Pucking around
Yes.
Here we go.
pecking.
It was
like a hockey puck.
yes, hockey players.
You got it. You got the pun.
3 hockey players.
Might have to
1
read
girl.
that.
God, I do appreciate a good reverse
There's
harem
not a
moment.
lot of
It's
like
very.
On page 7,
you would
4 people just went at it.
Honey, what have you read? You have read yours truly. You
Red, White, and Royal Blue, which is
Red.
mostly Fade to Black.
Yeah,
and
then
you read this one.
So you know nothing. We're
Yeah.
starting you easy.
But also
We had a live react of me listening to that for the first time.
the 3 boys.
You would be riveted.
The reverse harem situations, it wouldn't be as exciting for you because the boys don't really interact with each other. Like, they might tell each other what to do, but they're not doing anything.
Oh,
it's
it
all
is
about
full
The ones
3 on
we
that.
read.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
But I mean, it would.
That's
it would be
terrifying.
hot if they were
Yeah,
into each
it's-
other.
That's
Oh, yeah,
terrifying.
that would be hot too, but it's almost never like that.
It's usually she's the center of attention, which
Yeah.
is fun.
It's like we all love her. We all have a different kind of relationship with her.
That's
yeah.
we all bring
Big
a different
no.
thing to the table with her, which is fun.
Yeah.
I can't open
As a
up.
her, I appreciate it.
Why
But-
not?
As like I like to be the center of attention.
But it'd also be hot if they were into each other. Like
4.
always.
I can barely just deal with 1, more or less. 3.
Well, you know, sometimes one is enough.
Heavens. Oh, yay. The
So my good
epilogue or whatever it's called.
The epilogue.
The epilogue is.
That is a book word.
That's okay. You're.
So the vocabulary is coming along.
Yeah, great work. So this is a book description.
That is a book word. It's the
This is
epilogue
the-
of the ending.
An epilogue is the
Son of a
good.
bitch.
Good work. You got it. The
is the
epilogue is at
synopsis.
the end. A prologue is at the beginning.
Yeah, and this is a synopsis.
How would you have known that? Like, I don't know. Now you know. Okay, book description. So I love to go over the Goodreads description that is written by the publisher.
4 stars.
And then 4.4.
oh.
And then
I want to
going
give it
over.
4.5, but you can't really do that on Goodreads. So it's really a 4.5. But
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
And
That
then
was
I
your
love to
rating?
read our review. And by our, I mean...
Katie Bird.
This is not an acrostic this time. This
not live creating it on the pod.
a collaborative moment. No, this is Katie Bird wrote this. Okay, book description. I gotta read my birthday meeting noise. A shimmering, joyful new novel about a pair of opposites with the wrong thing in common. Daphne always loved the way her fiance Peter told their story. How they met on a blustery day, fell in love over an errant hat, and moved back to his lakeside hometown to begin their life together. He was really good at telling it, right up until the moment he realized he was actually in love with his childhood best friend Petra. And yes, listeners, y'all did hear that his name is Peter and her name is Petra.
Yeah, you heard that
I
right.
just think of that bowl of chili.
Unfortunate.
I
Chili
can-
and chips.
Petros.
Chips and chilies
That's Petro's chili and chips.
with the orange sweet
If you need a shit, go to Petra.
Go to Petro's Chili and Chips.
Head on over to Petra.
immediate illness. All I can think of with Petra, with the name Petra, is for any of our listeners who are fans, is Jane the Virgin. Petra is the blonde with Raphael.
Petra.
Y'all,
Petrified.
Stop everything everyone's doing and watch Jane the Virgin. It's hysterical. Okay. Which is how Daphne begins her new story. Stranded in beautiful Waning Bay. I'm sorry, this is
Waiting Bay, that's the name of the town.
Waning Bay. Why?
I couldn't think of it when I was writing the review. Oh,
Waning
well.
Bay, Michigan. None of us, you haven't been to the Great Lakes to Michigan? None of us have.
Maybe I have.
I've been to Detroit, but not.
I've been there.
I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
April in the D. I learned that from a back of the house guy at the time. That's fine.
Well, it's cold in
The
Detroit.
service industry. Stranded in beautiful Waning Bay, Michigan, without friends or family, but with a dream job as a children's librarian that barely pays the
It's so
bills.
cute.
I'm a big fan of children's literature. So she is a children's librarian and proposing to be roommates with the only person who could possibly understand her predicament, Petra's ex, Miles Nowak. Scruffy and chaotic, with a penchant for taking solace in the sounds of heartbreaking love ballads, Miles is exactly the opposite of practical, buttoned-up Daphne, whose coworkers know so little about her that they have a running bet that she's either in the FBI or in witness protection. The roommates mainly avoid one another until one day, while drowning their sorrows, they form a tenuous friendship and a plan.
That's right.
We will get into that plan.
So good.
The plan this is one of the best plots I've heard in a long time.
great
It was
plot.
super silly. Super silly. If said plan, I love that there's no spoilers in this description at all. If said plan also involves posting deliberately misleading photos of their summer adventures together,
So
well,
fun.
who could blame them? But it's all just for show, of course, because there's no way Daphne would actually start her new chapter by falling in love with her ex-fiance's new fiance's ex, right?
Ooh, that was good.
I know. So that was the book description.
Were you sober when you wrote that?
I didn't write that.
The
That's also
publisher.
exactly what's on the back of this book.
Oh,
That's the back of the book.
Yeah.
So now
I thought
this
you
is
wrote
what-
that.
I wrote that.
I mean, it was very cute. It was like something she could have written. But this is her work here. Funny story by Emily Henry. The Smut Club review, 4 stars, which we are saying is 4.5.
It's yeah.
Round it up.
5.5. Emily Henry's 4th novel has arrived to make us giggle and kick our feet and also confront some of our personal relationship insecurities. Pause to note that I think at one point put in the group chat that this had us giggling and kicking our feet.
We were giggling, kicking our feet. We were also all crying.
This gave us all the feels.
Yes.
The full range of emotion, so many giggles, so much silliness, and so many tears. In the Target for me, personally.
In the Target.
Crying through the aisles. But don't worry, we do some beautiful healing right alongside our 2 main characters. Miles and Daphne find themselves to be sudden and unexpected roommates after they both suffer devastating breakups. The kicker? Their exes are now engaged to each other. What a gift! The only solution to this sticky situation is to obviously pretend to date themselves. That is a humorous way to phrase that.
I think that is the way to solve the problem.
Yeah, I think that's just such a great. We'll get into it, y'all. There's so many spoilers. This is a book review, so we will be discussing the plot extensively. They will surely solve all of their problems with no weird repercussions, right? Right. Well, as you can expect, the performative kisses quickly turn into real attraction that is hard to stifle when you bump into your fake boyfriend as he's coming out of the shower in your teeny tiny shared apartment. Whoops!
Oopsie.
You can
You've got
hear
water
each other.
dripping down your chest, and your beard's all grown out because you're so sad.
You're all in these. I mean, the forced proximity was just splendid.
I love it.
Ideal. Every trope. I would just holler the trope
Yes.
as I'd read. I'm like, women! Forced proximity. Hard to stifle when you bump into your fake boyfriend, blah, blah, blah. So cute. Miles, the colloquial mayor of a small town off Lake Michigan, Golden Retriever,
Yes.
has made it his personal mission to show Daphne that she can make this town hers, even without Peter, and the beautiful Victorian home that she had to give up in the wake of their breakup. That was
Evil.
That
I'm gonna
was
kill him.
cruel.
I'm gonna fucking
And then
kill
he
him.
so generously went out of town for a week with her.
He's like, oh, I'll get out. I'll get out of your way so you can move your stuff out of this home you picked out for us.
He said, we're gonna leave.
We're
gonna leave so you can take care of this.
I was
As in,
so
I
pissed.
just broke up with you. We're literally getting married in a month. Me and my new girlfriend, we're gonna go.
And like her dream,
Nice.
beautiful Victorian home with the wraparound porch.
Emily,
A crime. A true
Emily
crime.
really wanted to just wreck us.
She said, "You're gonna feel this."
She was like, you didn't like Happy Place because I broke your heart there. I'm going to actually fuck y'all up.
Yeah.
With how devastating this is. But then she healed us, which we demand.
We appreciate.
This book takes readers on a journey of personal healing and learning to become an I while also being part of a we. That was beautiful.
So sweet.
Funny story will have you feeling giddy, heartbroken, silly, and brand new by the time you reach our guaranteed happily ever after. If you love Emily Henry's writing, Funny Story will not disappoint you. In fact, it may exceed all of your wildest dreams. Take a shot. We are giving this one 4 stars only for the sake of our desire for a little more spice. Always. There really, truly was not enough spice. But the plot brought us so much joy that we barely missed those fade to black scenes. Wow, wow, wow. Yes. Such a great book.
I
loved
it.
I truly did. Like, I loved it so much. I became aware of the fact that I was like, I haven't even missed the fact that they haven't had sex yet. You know,
Yeah.
like I was so
Yes.
caught up in the story that I was like, oh, I actually feel okay.
And I remember
about
being-
the fact that I'm so deep into the story
Like,
now.
I
That's a
remember
great
being like
example.
about here being like, oh, they actually haven't had any kind like an actual sexual encounter that didn't end and being like, oh my gosh, maybe we should stop. But I was like, I'm so just
But it
happy.
did not make me
Yeah.
angry, which
Yeah.
is telling because generally we're super frustrated
Yes.
whenever, like, yeah, obviously, whenever it fades to black or they get interrupted, it's really irritating. But the quality of the story, like the way we were engaged with the characters,
Well, we cared about these people.
yeah, we wanted to like see what happened.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is, I think, speaks to Emily Henry's quality as an author and the compelling characters that she writes.
Yeah.
That's why we love
Her character
her.
There she
development.
is.
I know,
That's so
she's a
girly.
girly.
Just like us.
I love her. She's definitely a Swiftie.
Yes,
Very-
she is.
there- I
And
mean-
this book is so Taylor Swift coded.
She literally said cruel
There are
summer.
so
Cruel
many.
Summer.
Yes.
She said Cruel Summer. There's a list of affairs in there. Like
Yeah.
there are so many things.
Yes.
Yeah.
We've
Yes.
specifically addressed all of it. It's fantastic.
100%.
You got to put your cap on. Your Stanley straw cap.
All
Okay.
right. As always, I have notes. I have a physical copy of the book this time, the large print version because
That was so fun.
I ordered it with my eyes half open,
You were like, sure.
and it was $30, and I was like, "Huh, that's a little bit high for a paperback book." It's because it's the large print. That's okay.
You can see it from
I can read
so
it
far away.
Yeah, I can read it so quickly.
Just turn those pages. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, on page 3. Over the last 3 years, Peter dusted off our story. She capitalized the words "our story" every chance he got. I was sure he'd work it into both of our vows and his wedding reception speech. But then his bachelor party happened, and everything changed. The story tipped onto its side, found a fresh point of view, and in this new telling of it, I was no longer the leading lady, but instead the teensy complication that will forever be used to jazz up their story.
Dear God.
Daphne Vincent, the librarian that Peter plucked out of the trash, nearly married, then dumped the morning after his bachelor party for his, quote, platonic best friend, Petra Comer.
Petra.
Petra.
Really, fuck him.
Yeah.
Truly.
My note here is, were you sent by someone who wanted me dead?
Someone
Who wanted me dead?
Ah,
It's our story. I was thinking the story of us.
yes.
Looks a lot like a tragedy now.
Yeah.
Next chapter.
like a tragedy now. Next chapter.
So that is page, this is how the book is opening. So she's telling us, like, right from the get-go, we're starting off being just absolutely destroyed by this man.
Which was quite the way to open a book.
Yeah.
I loved the way this opened. We were dropped right into the thick of this devastation. It was such an unexpected that, like, oh, we're starting with the breakup.
We're starting with...
We're
yeah.
starting at a devastating breakup. And where do we live now? Oops.
Yeah.
I think that's what made me love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was because he was also very sad.
Yes. I know, we love
was like,
sad
But
away.
he was working through
Yes,
it.
he
and
was doing what he
still-
needed to do.
Oh, it was so
Yes.
good.
I loved it.
Okay.
Yes. So now here I am sitting in my tiny apartment, scrolling through Petra's public social media, seeing every detail
Fucking
of,
influencer.
yes, of her new courtship with my ex-fiance. From the next room, Jamie O'Neill's rendition of All By Myself plays loudly enough to make the coffee table shiver. All by myself.
Miles, incredible. We'll get to it.
I mean, that's so relatable.
Yeah.
I feel like...
I just want to listen to Taylor Swift and cry alone.
Yes, exactly. Just he just wants
Leave
to
me be.
he just wants to smoke his weed and listen to his sad music. Be left alone.
He's feeling his feelings.
With his head out the window.
Yes, she said, please don't. It's
Can
not.
you please stop smoking
It's not her
indoors?
apartment, but she's like, can you not do that inside?
Right.
Accommodated it.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's
like, sure.
Yeah.
Adorable.
He did me a huge favor by letting me move in. Then again, it's not like he had many options. His girlfriend had just moved out into my apartment with my fiance. Oh no!
It was just like
Quick little swap.
Just little,
Just a little
switchers.
Tradesies.
And the way
Little Freaky
Emily
Friday
Henry
moment.
describes it is just like, oh, I'm already invested. I'm already about to fuck some people up. We've got here on page 3. My roommate's dark brown eyes are ringed in pink, and he's in nothing but a pair of boxers and a funky knitted afghan wrapped around his shoulders like a very sad cape. And verklempt. You can get that.
You're
out.
what?
Verklempt. Considering the overall climate of our hotbox apartment, I can only assume this is for the modesty's sake. Seems like overkill for a man who, just last night, forgot I lived with him long enough to take a whole ass shower with the door wide open. His chocolate brown hair sticks up in every direction. His matching beard is pure chaos. He clears his throat. What's up?
What's up?
Sounds probably, that's the description. You probably have that highlighted.
Yes. Well, maybe. Yes, and then Peter's description is over here on page 15.
I
said ew out loud.
I
said ew.
resent what y'all have to say about the blondies of the world.
It's not my fault that he's an asshole.
But just because they're blonde does not always mean.
My note here is it's always the blondes.
Okay, so you preemptively
retorted. It was hard to feel too panicky with Peter nearby. Looked like the very least invented depiction of the archangel Michael, 6'4", golden blonde hair, green eyes, and a strong Roman nose.
I literally said ew out loud when I read
I was like, that is clearly the opposite.
I mean,
of
it
my
really
type.
is a red flag in that case. It's a Tamlin energy. It's it's a maybe one of our exes just to spread it. We don't know which one of our 4 exes it could be. Couldn't know.
Couldn't possibly know.
But yeah, no, exactly that. A problem. A walking red flag.
That's right. On page 23, so the thing about these chapters is that they all are titled with a date, and then like it's got a countdown. And the beginning of the book is counting down to the days that she's leaving his apartment,
Which was such a... I love that.
Yeah, and
was
then
Because it was such a like, of course I'm leaving.
I'm leaving.
I'm outta here.
And then eventually it changes to
If I went to.
days until the art show, or not the art show, the readathon.
Yeah.
And then it changes to days until I can leave if I want to.
The
then-
first time she said that, I was like, yes.
At the very end, it's like days since I've lived with.
Yeah.
Cute.
It's so sweet.
The we to an I was so
It's just so cute. Okay, page 23. I made a sport of figuring out the absolute least amount of things I needed. It helped that I was such a library kid and didn't have metric tons of annotated paperbacks, as I'm holding an annotated paperback. Books were the only thing I was gluttonous about, but I didn't care about owning them so much as absorbing their contents. Now, I can't relate to anything less. I
could not possibly.
I gotta own them all.
I would like to have maximum things.
So, you know what I would do growing up is my parents did a few things correctly, and they taught me early on that books are, if you want a book, it's free.
Yes.
Like a book is,
Learning is free. Like this
I will always get you a book.
a book is something it's okay to buy because I'm learning something.
And so now in adulthood, I have since, we were just discussing this with the Libby, actually using a library instead of just buying books indiscriminately. But I would carry books with me everywhere. I always had I did a Rory. I had so many Rory from Gilmore Girls.
Yeah.
I always had a
Which
book
would come
in
with a
my
book.
Yes, absolutely, 100%.
We would go camping as a family, and I would always like pack so many books. I didn't need them. My bed growing up had books all down the side of my bed, and like under my covers, they were my buddies.
Yes, I always had the
love my
biggest
books.
purse out of all of my friends because I needed to be able
So I
to fit
wanted
a
to be able
book.
to fit that book in there.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
in the early aughts, our purses had to be really small.
Yeah, but no, I had to have
So-
especially since I'm reading like freaking 800-page Harry Potter hardback book.
I put it in my backpack at school.
It's got to fit.
It's my comfort.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yes.
So yes,
Wow.
but she was a library kid, so she didn't need to have them herself.
I do.
I want to have them.
I prefer to have them in my hands.
That's right. I just like to hold it.
I know.
Okay, on page 25. So after we opened this book with the breakup, Emily Henry is really like hammering home the devastation that Stephanie is enduring. So she just is kind of going back and explaining how their relationship was, and like, you know, the glittery shining picture that she felt that it was. So on page 25, Peter and I moved into the Waning Bay house with its wraparound porch. That day, he scooped me into his arms, carried me over the threshold, and said the 3 magic words that changed my minimalist heart forever. Welcome home, Daphne.
So everything that was hurting in her childhood
Yes.
was now healing because she finally had a home. She finally had...
And then he took it away.
My note here is, you shit talked me under the table, talking rings and talking cradles.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
The sex would have been as good as the...
Oh, yeah, as the
conversation.
conversation.
Yeah, we would've already
Soon we'd be
been
pushing strollers.
Oof.
But soon it was over.
Oof.
Play stupid games, win stupid prizes, Peter.
So Peter, for some reason, doesn't like Miles. Why would he hate his girl best friend's boyfriend? That's weird. He thinks that he's kind of a deadbeat guy. But we learn that his career, he works at a winery, which is so hot.
So hot.
And he's like...
He's a sommelier. Like, he really...
Yes, and he knows wine. He's like, someone says something at some point about not liking a certain kind of wine. He's like, well, you should try ours. It's like...
That was erotic.
It's so hot.
That was erotic when he was like giving her the wine and like taste
Poured out
this,
the
and then
little-
she was like, "Oh, this is exactly that."
Ugh.
Hot.
Hot.
I love watching a man open a bottle of wine.
I was in love.
Yes, I do.
Maybe there's something about
I love when men know things.
Yes, when they know things.
Just love it.
Like, bare minimum, know something.
Just know something.
and I'll just listen.
I might not care about it, but I'll still listen.
But I love that you know it.
Yeah.
I'm so happy to just listen.
Okay, page 95. I jumped ahead because I'm assuming a lot of that is just plot. So page 95. There's no good way to get out of it. I mean, when we break up, Peter will get to feel smug and superior about that. That's no problem, Miles says, pouring a taste of white wine for each of us. All we have to do is get married, then stay together until they split up. And if they have kids, we'll just have one more than them. If they get a dog, we'll get a cuter dog. And if they buy a new house, we get a mansion.
So the way that the fake dating was set up,
It's so cutie and flirty.
they both in a drunken haze. So they went out, they hung out because they both got wedding invitations, which cruel.
So
Terrible. Just in a fucking wedding invite. So they both got wedding invitations to their exes' weddings, because their exes are marrying one another, and so they RSVP'd whilst drunk that they were coming. And so then Peter, the asshole, calls our angel Daphne the next day and very compassionately is like, "Oh my God, I really don't have to come," and she's scrambling.
Yeah, she's like, well, you know what? I'm coming with my new boyfriend. Do you know him? His name's Miles.
She literally was like, "Well, he didn't need to RSVP because, or no, he didn't need. I don't need a +1 because he already got an invitation."
And he
Right.
RSVP'd
And
him.
And
Quiet
Peter
afterward.
hates no one as much as he hates Miles.
Oh, yes.
And so it was just the most satisfying conversation in the world. And she's silently screaming out the window, and I'm giggling and kicking my feet.
It's so good.
So happy.
And she's like, this is so embarrassing. I can't believe I did this. And then she goes and tells him, and he's like, hello,
Miles-
that's great.
He's like,
Miles
love
is-
it.
and that's match made in heaven because he's like, this is fantastic.
He's like,
Yeah.
sounds
This
good.
is gonna be fucking hysterical.
He was like, this is
because
great.
Petra hated you too. Like,
I mean, honestly, let's
this
just
will be
get married.
Yeah.
Should we do that?
let's one up
Just
him
get a
in
dog.
every way. So he was gung fucking ho.
I love it.
For the fake dating.
Yeah.
It was
So good.
So already, like the co-conspirator. Phew, so cute.
So cute. Okay, page 112. So Miles is like annoyingly calm and like just kind of has his shit together in a way that gets on my nerves.
This would make me crazy.
Yeah.
Miles reminded me a lot of Jay in some ways.
Yeah.
It's irritating.
So this is Miles talking. Things go smoother if you don't let people get a rise out of you, he says. If you give them control of how you feel, they'll always use it.
Yeah.
Finally, I get to see your cynical side, I say. He smiles, but his jaw is tight and the smile doesn't reach his eyes. It's not cynical if you don't give other people responsibility for your feelings. You can have a decent relationship with most of them.
Yeah.
Now,
This is the child of an adult.
hold on a
mature
second.
parent.
Hold on a second. I want to make my feelings other people's problems. So
I have only ever let people get a rise out of me.
yes, I am so easy to piss off.
You enjoy giving people that power. Okay. That is a way to live. It is.
It doesn't feel great, but it happens.
So let me tell you, the more we heard about Miles growing up, the more I was like, I see how you are.
We're protecting ourselves. Got it.
Yeah, I speak that language too. Okay, good.
So, one of the cute things that Miles does is he just like takes her on all these fun little things.
Because
He makes a plan.
She
He
moved
simply
there.
makes a plan.
Yes, he
makes
does.
a bare minimum. Just
Literally
fucking make a plan.
So he says, he doesn't even tell her sometimes. He just says, "Get ready.
Yeah,
this is
he's
where
like,
this
"Here's
is what
what-
you'll need."
here's what
and
you
takes
need.
her.
Hot.
I think
And he
I would
fucking takes
like
her.
a Miles.
God.
Oh, yeah.
I love a
Dreamy.
plan.
You do
And
so
I
good
love
at that.
for the
You
plan
I
to
would
be
love
told
it.
to me, and I love to not have to think. I want to get in that car, and I want you to just take me somewhere.
Yeah.
That's right.
Absolutely so dreamy. But yes, he is trying to help her fall in love with Waning Bay because he is from there. But she is not. She just moved there, and all of her friends and family and everything was Peter's everything. And so that's why that's a tough one.
Yeah.
But Miles doesn't want her to leave.
No, he
He's trying
doesn't.
to give her her own life.
So she is basically saying like, I always go to this public beach, and like you're supposed to leave after dark. And he is like, what do you mean? Like you can stay on the beach. And he says, you're just a sweet, naive, beautiful little innocent raised in captivity by a man who loves wheatgrass. So the beach doesn't close after dark, I say. He backs out of the craggy parking space. Not any of the good ones.
Whew.
Take me
to your favorite
that
spot.
fucking beach.
Can we smoke weed on your favorite beach? Like, let's go right now.
Yeah, literally. Also,
Tell me around your hometown.
Yes.
don't ever let anyone trick you into thinking wheatgrass is good. It's not.
Ugh.
It tastes like shit.
But we're here thinking of like the greens that actually are kind of good. I'm like, that bloom green stuff from Target.
Yeah, I mean there are greens that are good,
But wheatgrass is
wheatgrass is nasty.
Yeah.
Yes, there was this consistent theme of like when she would actually eat something that was delicious, she would
Moan.
messy moan.
And Miles just ate that shit up.
He would watch her. He would,
just like-
he would just look at her.
Pizza.
While she's eating,
Yeah.
he's like, eat something else. Eat that one.
Even when they were just like first being friends, he was like deeply aroused
Yeah.
by how sexually aroused she was by pizza.
Relatable.
Same.
So good.
I don't.
As well.
Yeah, I don't moan, but I just sway. I'm like, I love
yeah.
food so much.
I do.
Yes.
I go.
I
happy.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, mac and cheese.
Oh, I do it with a lot of things. I shimmy my shoulders because I'm happy.
Yeah.
I do a moan.
So Miles is the king of just speaking truth to her at all times because Daphne has a pretty like warped sense of self. She doesn't really.
sure.
She doesn't know herself at all, and other people don't really know her because she doesn't know herself. How can she share who she is if she doesn't know? And so on page 125, he says, "That asshole already took your house. Don't let him take your self-esteem."
The way that Miles
Period.
like advocates, and it's part of it is because he's in the same situation trying to get over Petra, but the way that he is like the way that he is so absolutely helping our girl Daphne is just dreamy. What were you pointing at, Katie?
It's your birthday.
Saturday, June 1st. Yeah. I thought it was 11. That's my birthday.
Yeah. I just wrote happy birthday.
Oh my god. June 1st, my birthday. It's
Yeah.
coming up.
Okay, 164. Okay, so y'all, we know with Emily Henry that we don't get any kind of spice
We know.
At all.
all until like
Yes.
page 370. And so when we were over here on page 164 kissing, I was like,
Here we
Heating
go.
up.
Here we go.
I think she's been reading our reviews.
Give
she's
us
like,
more.
we want more because she can write it and it's so good.
She does beautiful smut.
So okay, page 164. We're just gonna enjoy this. I didn't even have a note. I just underlined it.
The whole thing.
So they're fucking kayaking. 'Cause
Yes.
He's trying to help her fall in love with the area.
Ugh.
Because he's a great friend.
The laugh dies in the back of my throat as he grips my hip in one hand and my jaw in the other and kisses me for real. Rough, impatient, but not clumsy. His tongue slips into my mouth experimentally, then a little deeper, tangling with mine. A thrill shoots down the front of my ribcage as he turns us 180 degrees, backing me into the side of the driver's seat, settling his hips against mine. Woo! So this is actually when Peter shows
Why are
up.
they kissing? Right
Peter
here.
shows up at the winery, And
Whoops.
he is basically there to be like, Miles isn't good enough for you. He's like a deadbeat. He works on a bar. He works at a winery. That's not the same thing as a bar. Also, working at a bar is fine.
All work is honorable.
It's a job.
Peter comes from
He's
generational
employed,
wealth.
actually.
Yeah.
And so, in order to make Peter just so very jealous, we're gonna kiss in the parking lot.
Fake dating
I
gets
love
me
it.
every time. It's so
It's
good.
so
like
good.
The first kiss was like a little like too eager, like they were trying to prove a point, and
Yeah.
then he fucking kisses her.
Flips her around, pushes her against the car, and then when they come up for air, Peter's gone.
I love
Come
it.
up for air.
Yes. Okay, page 170. So they have this fun way of like communicating with each other where Daphne will get really upset about something and Miles has to talk her down. Relatable.
Never been there.
So I just love this. Page 170. My mom and I used to play this game we called Whiny Babies. We just take turns complaining about smaller and stupider things until we ran out. Like the girl I sit next to in English Lit chewed her pencil really loudly. Whoever had the smallest complaint got to choose dinner. I love this game.
I love
I think we
that.
should enact this.
Whiny Babies. I'm starting to play this game.
Whiny babies. It is so cathartic.
I just need to complain about shit.
Just allow it to be.
Yeah.
Jay
Good
has
Lord.
learned early on that like sometimes I just need for you to receive my bullshittery about something petty.
Yeah.
I love
he-
to just complain.
And just let me complain about
Because
it.
it
Let
has
me
to
get
be
it out.
so good
Yes.
so often. I have to just be so mature. And
Do you know how
responsible.
accommodating I have to be all day
All
long?
the
I have to just be okay.
Yes.
When I'm not,
Like,
I think it's stupid.
I don't feel like it.
we need this. Can you do this? Hey, we need this over here.
I have to be
I'm
professional.
just like, yep, I'll take care of it.
I'll do it. I also
Yep.
grew up in an environment where it was like, if you dared to like complain or just like have any feeling that wasn't joy, it was like, why are you so negative? Why are you always? You're such a pessimist. You're so negative all the time.
I'm a
and I was like,
human.
I just feel something. I
just
don't
have
know.
a feeling.
So now I'm
And
like,
you talk about
I'm like,
it.
I'm sorry. I know I probably shouldn't be complaining about this, or like, I'm sorry. I know, like, blah blah blah. And
No.
like, it feels good
Yeah.
to just be like, I actually hate this.
But what feels so good about it is for someone else to hold space for it
Yeah.
and be like,
yeah, that does
Yeah.
suck.
yeah, that does
That's
suck.
terrible.
That's
Yeah.
awful.
Oh my god, that shouldn't have happened. Or like, yeah, that's
Yeah.
the worst. That is such a beautiful human experience.
Yes.
To share a whiny baby
Whiny
experiences
babies.
with each other.
I love it.
Let me be a whiny baby.
Yeah, your podcasts, your group text podcast.
That's literally what I'm doing. Oh, it's because
It
it's
is
always
so fun.
It's usually when I'm like in my car leaving,
fun.
and I
Yeah.
just have to like
Get it out.
vomit
Get it off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, because I've been holding it together for 8 hours, and then when I get in my car, I'm like, get it off, get it off,
Jeez.
get it out, get it out of me.
Get off my chest.
Yeah.
I never wish for you to suffer in any way, and these podcasts are hysterical because
The weirdest shit happens. I have a weird job.
Like, just listen to this.
Listen to this
about
bullshit.
my day.
Right.
And the best is the little transcript because it's just
It
stream
makes
of
no sense.
consciousness
Yeah.
nonsense of. And my favorite part was I don't want to fucking be here either. It's all the that you wish you could have said.
Yes. But here we are.
I don't want to fucking be here either, but okay.
Do you read it first and then listen to it, or
So funny. Well, that time I was listening to Taylor on a record, and I would have had to stand up to stop her.
Yeah.
And so I read whilst listening.
I don't know how you could interpret anything from those transcripts.
That was the best part.
So funny. Okay.
So good.
Page 252. So Daphne develops this really sweet friendship with Ashley, who works at the library with her.
Ashley.
This
Yes,
friendship.
and it's spelled like our Ashley,
Yes.
L-E-I-G-H.
That's
that
true.
warmed my heart.
So sweet.
Yeah.
That's similar
Yeah.
energy.
And she's a mama. There was at the beginning. There was
Yes.
like she goes on. You pointed it. The Cars 2 like lunchbox
Yes.
metaphor thing that she was talking about. And I was like, I know exactly what she's saying.
Yes.
But she went through this conversation about like being a mom and like putting her child like there was something at the beginning that she
Crying
talked
in the
about that I was just like,
bathroom
oh no.
Yes, where she like
That's what it was,
She would
yes.
find like the most like
That's
gentle
exactly what it was.
mom,
Yep.
hand her the baby, and then go cry in the bathroom.
Cry. She said I would
Yes.
go cry as hard as I could for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And then I would go back out and I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
I know exactly what that feels like.
Oh, yeah.
I done that.
I can do it with a broken heart.
I used to do
Yes.
that. I would
Keep
put
your
him in a
shit
safe.
together.
I would put him in a safe place. I would shut our bedroom door. I would go into our guest room. I would shut that door. I would get into the shower and I would turn the shower on and I would cry.
Yeah.
because I couldn't hear him if I
Yeah.
was there. And so then I was like, okay, I'm good now. And then I go back out and I was ready to deal with the crying
so
baby.
important.
It was so, I felt so seen when I read that part.
It's so normalizing the actual
100%.
experience
Yes.
of caring for a child 24/7.
Yeah.
It's
100%.
It is the most wonderful thing and also terrible.
And
Yes.
Ashley was so, or this character
Yeah.
was so honest.
Yeah.
And like, she was such a likable.
Oh, I loved her.
loved
Immediately.
her. I
friend
loved her.
character. So great.
She reminded me so much
She
of our
felt like
Ashley.
our Ashley.
Yeah.
She was like, yes.
She was like, fuck y'all.
Yeah.
Kind of abrasive, but,
Yeah.
you know.
But deeply loyal.
Yeah.
Like,
Loved her.
great person.
Yeah, my mom tells this story a lot where, not a lot, but there was this one time where we were eating at some restaurant and I choked on a peach and a nurse at a nearby table had to like give me the Heimlich
Yeah.
because
Oh my
I was
God.
turning blue, and she left me with the nurse and then went in the bathroom and cried.
Yeah.
She was like, I didn't know how to help you. Like,
Yeah.
I thought you were going to just
Which
die at
is
the table.
the worst nightmare. I mean,
Yeah.
your worst nightmare. You feel helpless. Like you.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then
I'm not quite thinking about that.
There's no, exactly. But there's no space for you to feel those feelings because
Yeah.
you're comforting your child.
Yeah.
You can't
You can
be a person.
Yeah.
I'm sure I just like was like, anyway.
That's what happened. My sister choked, and my grandma had to jump into action. And I was sitting at the table eating Funyuns. And I was like,
Funyuns.
I was like, oh.
I love
So I kept
Funyuns.
going. And I remember her yelling for my parents across the house, and my mom was going to the bathroom, and she ran out, and my grandma was doing the Heimlich on my sister, and I was like, is my sister? I was like, is she dying? And it was scary. And I just
scary.
think about like, I don't know. Anyway, I've made myself take. It was probably a trauma response. I've made myself take so many classes.
Yeah.
Just in case that happened.
I mean, on
so
a
scary.
much lower scale, every time my dog's like at the least bit choke in any way on their food that they gulp down so
Yes.
fast,
Right.
I like mentally rehearse the dog Heimlich maneuver.
Yeah.
It's terrifying.
Yeah.
I would just watch my nanny children, just like watch them the entire time they would
Yeah.
eat.
Yes.
Just watch. So
I saw a TikTok that was like, it was like a mom, something about still like sneaking over to her daughter's house when she's in her 40s, still cutting up her blueberries. And I was like, yep, that's it. I'll still be quartering their blueberries.
Oh, literally.
When
I
they're 50 years old.
I remember
don't
telling
care.
my nanny mom, I was like, I could just watch her eat all day because I mostly watched the toddler while the preschooler was at school, and I was like, I could just watch her eat all day. It's so cute. She's like, you know, that is actually what and we both giggle because I'm like, yeah, that is what I'm paid to do. It's just
Yes.
to watch her
It's
like
just
a hawk
to
while she's
look at
eating
you.
Right.
and to quarter everything
Yeah.
you're eating.
Yeah.
So fun.
Are blueberries dangerous?
Yeah.
Well,
they're
you could
round.
they're
choke
so
on them, yeah.
small.
Oh.
So they get stuck.
But kids
Yeah.
love them and they're healthy. And so like it's just cutting them
I
so
still
much.
like
That's what my sister choked on.
the
Was
fruit
great.
for my nephews and my niece. I mean,
Yeah.
some of them, 2 of them are very little and need it,
I was
but
thinking
like,
about our parfaits. I was like,
I know.
blueberries, gosh.
yeah,
I know. Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Just cut them.
I should have cut them up. Sorry.
That's fine. I did it.
The blackberries and
Yeah,
blueberries.
I usually don't cut blackberries up. They're usually fine because they're so
Give it.
soft.
Yeah.
They go right in.
But I
Like
thought
any
about it as I
raspberries,
was
blackberries,
stirring
any of
them
those are
up.
fine. No, I just cut them in half. It's fine. Easy peasy.
You're like, I'm not going to let him eat one
Yeah.
without
Easy
eating it. It's
peasy.
fine.
It's so easy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Such an easy fix.
It's an easy
Yeah.
trick. But okay.
Anyway, I loved Ashley.
Ashley, as a mom, that was a beautiful.
I loved
loved
her
it.
character.
Yeah.
Emily
I
Henry does a
absolutely
great
loved it.
job with really complex, real characters.
Yes.
And this was
You
gorgeous.
just feel. That's why I love this book. Like I just
Yes.
cared about the characters. It's
Yeah.
like you said. I just cared about them.
And like the scene where Daphne realizes she forgot about Ashley's birthday.
Yeah.
My
thought
stomach dropped.
I was gonna vomit. I was like, oh my
That was
god,
horrible.
oh my god.
Flashbacks of when I forgot Katie's birthday.
Oh,
And I almost died. I was like, shut the fuck
She
up.
did not forget my birthday.
I felt like I did.
She sent me. She
did-
sent me flowers. It was fine.
I did, and I did.
That's the worst feeling.
I just texted late, and I felt bad.
Yeah.
I texted like halfway through the day, and I was like, oh my god, I was like, I feel terrible. I'm turning red.
But no, anytime that you're
I'll never
trying-
forget it. But I did. I sent flowers. I've
She sent
never
me flowers the next
I've
day.
never
and
forgiven
I
myself.
was like, what are these for? And I read it and I was like, what the fuck?
I felt terrible.
It's just the guilt of, I let someone down who I love.
I felt terrible.
no.
Oh, it's such a horrible feeling.
Yeah.
It really is.
I felt it in my gut. I was like, oh.
On a much smaller scale, whenever I like read texts late and I realize that they were actually important in the moment, I'm
Yeah.
like,
Fuck. You crap.
it's a horrible feeling.
Yeah.
And so then I
Yes.
have like a whole, I don't want to make it about me.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I want to have a whole apology and
Yeah.
then respond. Oh, it's the worst feeling.
Yeah.
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 But, you know, we are all just doing the best we can.
Yeah.
Just trying
For
to
sure,
survive
for
out
sure.
here.
We're all
We're
just-
just doing what we can.
We trust the good intentions.
That's right.
Okay, page 252. This is Ashley speaking. There's steadiness and dependability, and those are great. But settling, just deciding you already know everything you like and dislike on the entire planet, everything you're good at, every friend you're going to make, and every food you're going to eat. The guy wouldn't even let me repaint our bedroom. I wanted to know the new parts of him, and I wanted to find new parts of myself. So I asked him to go to couples counseling, but he wouldn't go. He was willing to be good to me, but he wasn't willing to be any better.
That was a... Ashley.
Yes, ma'am. Like, she said...
Oh, Ashley.
She was, and it wasn't like this relationship was like harmful or like she wasn't being directly harmed, but she was like, I'm not happy.
This was a stunning explanation.
It was good, but it wasn't good enough.
Yeah. Well, she was like, I wanted to grow, and he just wanted to stay exactly the same for the rest of our lives, and I wanted like there's still life to be lived.
Yes.
And so it was that was a really complex way to explore. Divorce and separation, and like how do you know when it's over? How do you know when it's done? And
especially when there's nothing wrong necessarily, like because people are like, what happened, and you're like, nothing happened. That's the problem. Is that nothing happened?
That's the problem. Is life was continuing to go forward, but like he was stagnant, and I wanted to grow, but I needed to grow together, and that was. And then I think she says later that he didn't want to go to couples counseling.
His name is also Duke. Sorry if your name's Duke.
Yeah.
Ew.
Duke. And douching.
Yeah.
He's got that
It's a
cookie
bummer.
money.
Yeah.
Got the cookie money. Ashley was the side character, like she was the best friend, but she felt like a real.
Oh, I loved her. I adored her character so much.
Also, Julia, I really appreciated Julia. Miles' little sister.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, she was chaos. Chaos and revelry.
That's how he said.
She was blunt.
And he was like, she's a little sister.
Yes.
She is a little sister.
23. We need a code word for when you're overwhelmed.
Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds. We say that too frequently in conversation.
It's so good. So good.
Don't we all?
Okay, so page 274, one of the things that Miles does, one of the little adventures he takes her on is he takes her to a senior prom, which is a prom for old people.
She was so panicked
I
when she got in
wanted
the
to
car. She's like,
die.
why are we here?
I said
Flags.
cute.
I
out
wanted
loud.
to die of just adorableness.
Green flags.
I love it.
Green, yes, the man on TikTok with the giant green flag. Yes.
This was truly the most green flag.
So
And he said, I thought that it could get you sponsors. He was like, I thought that you can meet people. I thought you could connect with people here for your readathons.
yeah.
It was
Forward thinking.
he's the unofficial mayor of this town.
Yes, everybody knows him. He's
Golden
friends-
retriever.
I love him.
Yes.
But the reason he had an extra ticket to this senior...
Sorry, page numbers are not correct on the.
That's what I
they're
thought.
also-
large print.
It's mine that are wrong. It's because it's so fucking...
I was wondering. I was like,
You
how are
probably
these
have twice
correlating?
as many pages. I keep tapping trying to find it.
Yeah.
Okay. Good
Sorry.
to know. Turn in your hymnals to
Yes.
a page we can't find.
So the reason that Miles has an extra ticket is because he was going to go with Petros, and
Petros.
what do you know? Peter and Petra have shown up to this senior prom.
Also,
Boo.
red flag to
Boo.
have the same name.
Yes, Petro and Peter.
Not gonna work.
Ew.
Should we,
Yes, of course,
should we
the-
go get one? Should we add that to the to-do list?
For sure.
Ew.
No, I
do you
used to
mean,
eat
ew?
it between classes all the time.
Blonde.
In the winter? They had it in the old UC.
I just don't love chili. It's okay.
They just
survive.
You could do it
love
without
beans
it.
or tomatoes. As I y'all listeners, everyone needs to know, I made chili.
I ate
so
it.
I love
many,
chili.
No. So many nights I made chili for us to hang out and watch a movie or something, and I made white chicken chili. It was so good.
It was great. I ate it.
Then Katie
love
casually at some point was like, I really beans and tomatoes, not the vibe. And I'm like, Katie,
But everything
I
else-
made chili so many times.
The chicken and the broth and all the other vegetables were delicious. I just ate around.
There are
the
no other vegetables. Anyway, it was just cute. I was like, okay.
I just don't like beans. But
You're
okay.
allowed to not like beans. You just have to tell us.
All right, so at the senior prom, blonde, willowy, and looking spectacular in seafoam
She's an
green,
influencer.
with one hand delicately crooked in the arm of her equally spectacular tux-wearing date. I would want to crawl under a bridge.
It's actually a terrible feeling.
Don't like it.
It's pretty chilling. It makes you want to actually die.
Actually
Yeah.
makes you shiver because you feel cold inside.
Yeah.
So your body just shivers. It doesn't feel good.
Well, Miles,
special.
Evaporate from this world.
it is wild. Miles' solution to this is to take 2 shots of whiskey. I was like, hold on a second. Is your
Really?
goal to take the edge off or to start a fucking fight?
Yeah.
Like, if I'm taking shots of whiskey, we're about to fist
About
fight.
to start swinging.
Yeah.
I think Miles was on the right track.
I will stand on the table and fight you on the table.
I'll do it right now.
I might want my wits about me if I'm encountering my ex and the woman with whom he cheated with me. I might need my wits about me.
Yeah.
Or a couple of shots of whiskey. Could make things a little more interesting.
Start saying some stuff.
Maybe for the better. Could work well for us all. Y'all, sorry.
It's a skeeter.
Oh, it's a tiny...
They found you, Savannah.
I'm
They
telling you,
literally
they're coming
did.
over here.
The door was open for 5 minutes and now $70.
So there are so many times in this book where Miles, he just says exactly the right thing.
Sure does.
He has wonderful, just male main character speeches that I want to just tattoo on my brain.
Unlike Wyndham.
Wyndham
Wyndham.
can
Unlike
fuck
Wyndham
off.
from Happy Place. This
Wyndham.
MMC was...
Unlike Wyndham.
You know, Wyndham's problem was that he didn't talk at all, actually. He didn't
pulled a
say
Connie.
a single fucking word about how he was feeling. Oh, it made me want to kill him.
May want to kill him.
It was fun to be at the beach for a whole week while Katie seethed.
Well, I finished the book in 2 days. I was like, I cannot read this book anymore.
You were so angry.
I
have to
literally
get
threw
this
it
over
when
with.
I
I
was
was like,
done with
okay,
it.
no, great. Now I
You
have
didn't
to
finish it?
No,
No,
I
she
finished
did.
it.
Oh, but
and
you-
I finished it in 2 days and then threw it.
I
and
was,
I was done.
halfway through it and I texted and I was like, just a heads up, you're gonna hate this.
You're going to hate this book.
I hate it. So.
Sorry, I have a happy place stance.
It's okay to like Happy Place. We just didn't.
I just don't.
Page 286. Daphne is saying, something better always comes along. That's my curse.
Talking about her dad.
Yes.
Oh, her
that-
dad
was
was
rough.
a real douche canoe.
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
He sucks. Daphne, he gives a low, scraping laugh, but his eyes stay serious. You can't see him right now, but Peter is literally standing in a gap at the edge of the dance floor, watching your every move. And in a second, I'm going to turn you 90 degrees and kiss you again. And when I stop, I want you to look to your left and see his face. Then you
At
can
the senior prom.
yes. Then you can tell me if he thinks his new life without you is something better.
Ah! That is exactly what a woman needs to hear after
Yes.
being cheated on. That is
Yes.
exactly
what she did though. What'd she do after that?
Tell us. Keep on
fucking
reading.
ran.
Keep on reading, my
Yes, she literally, so he does exactly that. I'll just read it.
Please do.
As soon as he says the last word, he does it. Moves us in a half turn, drops his nose along mine, and it's like we picked up where that last kiss left off. Everything already more urgent and tense from the jump. And I'm not wondering what Peter thinks of all this when Miles parts my lips with his tongue, his hand sliding firmly down the curve of my ass. And when Miles' other hand winds itself into my hair and my spine arches up into him of its own accord, I'm thinking of only the spicy scent of ginger, the taste of espresso macaroon in his mouth, the feeling of his erection between us.
Yes!
For a few seconds, I'm nothing but a body seeking more of his. I only regain awareness when a couple of old ladies in beaded Mother of the Bride type sets start hooting and clapping for us at a table nearby.
Same. I am those women.
Yes. Miles touches my chin with his thumb as he sweeps
Oh,
one last
come
kiss over my
on.
mouth. He straightens up. Look left, he says scratchily. But I don't. Instead, I step back, then I turn and run.
Oh, Daphne.
And I said, what?
Daphne!
Where you going?
I'm so mad.
Where are you going?
He is in love with
This
her.
I did this when you were like I didn't know what I was gonna do. At this point, I was like, oh, don't do this to me.
Don't you
don't
do
make
it.
it go this way.
So
it came back around.
The
So I was like,
difference
don't
between
dare.
got in her own way.
like this book and other books we've reviewed where like the FMC runs away and then the male main character is like, oh well.
Oopsie.
He fucking goes after her and he's like, no, let's have a conversation. Like
God, we appreciate.
she's like, I'm dizzy, I'm sorry, and he's like, okay, what do you need? And so they
So she lied.
and
And then-
she lied, but they do.
I
have
was
a
frustrated.
conversation.
Just like, just tell him.
So this is a couple pages later. You only want to kiss me when they're there to see it, and I know I started it, but things are different now. Miles's gaze drops on a hoarse laugh, a shake of his head. He steps in close as our hips. He steps in closer as our hips brush. Then he looks back up, takes my face in both hands, and kisses me again. Rough, deep, messy, breathless. Yes,
Nobody was watching.
exactly. That's what I'm saying, folks. This is the difference between a book like this and a book like yours truly, where it's like Okay, so I'm starting to feel real feelings. Instead of like running away from each other and being like, never mind, we can't actually. He's like, no, we'll just kiss because I want to.
Mm-hmm. He just speaks with his words and his actions, which is pretty fantastic.
Which is wonderful.
It's actually all we're asking.
It's ideal, truly.
It's just like say what you mean and then mean what you say.
Yeah.
And then, like,
and then your
back
actions
it up.
follow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all we really want.
I think it's a pretty great standard to be held to.
Page 293.
On a large print.
You can see it from a mile away.
You sure can.
I reach back and undo the clasp at my neck, let the dress fall to my waist. A slow.
They're at the truck here.
But it's so good.
It's topless.
They're up fucking side. Like
I love a public fucking. It's my favorite.
a slow testing thrust of his hips, the friction dividing my thoughts into fractals. His mouth drags up my throat, his breath hot. I want, he says raggedly, to undress you and taste you. I want to hear you come again and feel that too.
So it should be noted that he said
It should be noted.
again. And that is because they had a little makeout sesh
On the couch.
on the couch where
Watching Fast and Furious or something.
sure did the one with Vin Diesel.
Yes, the one with Vin Diesel.
That's how she described it. They all have Vin Diesel. But she is in her cutie little pajama outfit, as Nicholas Miller says. She had her pajama outfit on, buttoned up, that he unbuttoned, helped her with that. And then he centered her pleasure in a really delightful scene that I don't even know what chapter it is. I think we were all just drooling. Just positively drooling throughout. It was a delicious scene. And then he gets a call from his sister Julia that she needs to move in and blah, blah, blah. It was very cute.
He does. He says because they had agreed they're not going to have sex because they don't want to make things complicated.
I mean,
but then
their
he's like,
situation would be
I
weird.
know that we agreed we're not going to have sex, but can I touch you? And she's like, yes.
Yes.
Whilst his pants,
Yep.
his hands are already...
Yes, you absolutely may, actually.
Thank you. I do give my enthusiastic consent.
Yes. I wish you would,
And,
truly.
It was just so high school. It was so good. It was so good.
Yeah, well, I most certainly did underline that, and I just...
Excellent.
It's hard when it's not my Kindle.
No, that's okay. This is excellent. Thank you.
We will jump back to... Because... Only because...
Let's cover this.
That's why we're all here.
Only because of the way... I just...
I love it.
So we're already having her come to climax, like in the first third of the book.
Yes.
You found that so fast.
Well, I had it bookmarked. I just skipped over it. It's-
No, we are at it now.
We were holding a Bible over there.
Yeah,
so.
literally.
Large.
So this is on page 192 of the large print, so who knows? He drags one of my knees up against his hip. And
Absolutely.
and I
They're
see-
on the couch.
Yes! And I see stars, little lips of color popping against my eyelids.
Grind against me.
My hips tip up to his, and my shyness disintegrates as his mouth skates down my jaw, his teeth scraping my neck.
Yes.
My hands move down to his ass, and he licks the skin beneath my ear. I gasp, and he tilts his hips against mine, making me arch. This no longer feels like just making out. It's the prelude to something bigger. So they talk a little bit, and she's like, I don't think we should have sex. I'm not ready. And then...
Well, she doesn't want to fuck this up.
Yeah.
She is ready. She just doesn't
So this is what I love about why Miles loves her. A little bit later on down, then his hand skates to the top button of my shirt. When he slips it free, a shiver passes through me. Always so buttoned up, he murmurs softly.
She is a librarian.
Yes, his fingers drag down
She's
my
a
chest,
librarian.
and I lift under them. A wave being pulled by his tide, he undoes the next button and touches the sensitive skin there, tracing the crease of my sternum. And
He felt every bit of it.
the way that he loves the way that she dresses, because first of all, it's her, and he's like, it's like a present. And
Yeah.
they have a
He
conversation.
says he's like a secret.
Like a secret.
Like a secret.
Yes. They have that conversation with Peter and Petra face to face.
But Petra said to her, this is a great, refreshing style for you because you're always so buttoned up. Which, fuck her.
Yes,
Yeah.
that was me girl shit. And then he like puts his hands around her waist and he's like, yeah, I've always had a thing for that. Like hot librarians.
Ooh.
Right in front of Peter. I just wanted
And Peter
to eat
says
it up.
something.
They're
He's like
revenge.
he makes some comment about it, and Miles is like, no, like a secret.
It's like a secret.
It's like a secret. So
Hot.
good. So now they're this is after senior prom, and they are, just fucking up against
Yes. So then we
love
were.
it.
And he's like, I want you to come again.
Yes.
Just something of female pleasure. I would call
It's
it.
just so good. And so when he says come again, that's because they've already had an encounter earlier in the book. And it's,
Where he was ignoring phone calls to get her.
that's
to get
right.
Her there.
Julia's incessant
Yeah.
phone calls.
A ministry.
I think the book was very good at like the little details, like
Yeah.
chills, goosebumps. Like it was very descriptive, so it was very easy to like kind of follow along.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It felt like you were there.
Yeah.
So good.
So good.
We know what that feels like.
So about
You're there with us watching a lot of Smut. Reading a lot of Smut.
About 2/3 in the book, we kind of get a little bit of Miles' backstory. He's kind of closed off a little bit about what his home life was like. All we really know is what Peter has said is that he doesn't talk to his parents. And he's like, do you even know why he doesn't talk to his parents? And Daphne's like, well, it's not necessarily my business. And also, like, what do you think you know about Miles? Like, you don't like him, so.
It's the way he said it. He was like, Pedro told me that his parents don't even talk to him.
Yeah.
And it's like,
It's like,
excuse me?
Yeah.
You don't even know what happened.
Yeah, and then Miles looked so hurt.
I
Yeah.
know.
She's like, I didn't think she would say that.
I didn't think she would share that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. As if he is somehow unworthy of being loved by anyone.
Ugh.
That was real dirty. That wasn't okay.
So on page 301, he's saying to Daphne, I don't trust my perception of things. That's what my childhood did to me. Made my brain into a fucking funhouse where I might think I'm standing on the floor, but really I'm stuck to a wall. I never know if I'm feeling the right thing, and I'm tired of fucking things up for people that I care about. So this is the upside down.
So yes, we've talked a lot about the upside down.
Yeah.
So and the result of emotional manipulation and relationship with personality disordered folks is that it's like another world. It's where different rules apply, and you don't know what to trust or who to trust, and you certainly can't trust yourself because that's the result of gaslighting. And the fear sorry, can we hear me now? The fear, obligation, and guilt, like this, like not trusting himself. Like, Emily captured this really heartbreakingly well. Of how it feels and how the MMC, I really appreciated that it was the MMC who was working through this, but taking responsibility and imperfect, but like still working through like what does it mean to now be an adult and to trust myself and to have healthy relationships after I feel like a mouse of a man.
Yeah. Well, and she did a great job of describing what his mom was like and how she would just emotionally manipulate them, or she would do things.
It was real narcissistic,
really
behavior.
toxic. Where, like, if he was upset about something, she would be like, "Well, I guess I could just never do anything right.
Sorry, I guess I'm just terrible.
You must hate me. Like, I'm sorry, but she's a terrible mom." So
it was some
super
BPD,
toxic
NPD
shit.
stuff.
Yeah. So we do. I mean, I appreciate getting some of Miles's backstory and that he's actively working through it and not working through it on anybody else.
Yeah. He's taking over responsibility for everything all the time, but
Yes.
he's not hurting others.
So, the beginning of chapter 20 is where the chapter titles start to switch. So on July 4th, this chapter is titled 44 Days Until I Could Leave If I Still Want to, which is so sweet. And the first line of this chapter is, maybe things are complicated, but they're also good. Two things can be true. Like, this book made me feel so good.
Yeah.
I know.
As you're literally rereading it, your like little feet are just like tapping.
I know.
I'm kicking my little feet.
It makes you feel hope. Like it was just, even in the middle of such heartbreak, to have such joy, it was really powerful. Just that we can go through terrible suffering and there can be healing, there can be hope. Like things are not all, I mean, there's space for grief. But the way that they held the grief and the joy was really meaningful and very human.
So, our first official full on sex scene is in the 400s, which is like, well, it's probably not actually the 400s in a regular book.
About the 200s.
It felt
But
like
that's
it.
about right for Emily Henry, about this far into the book. But it is really beautiful. And she always writes really beautiful, like, sex scenes.
For sure.
Then he lowers himself between my knees, his hands lightly against my legs, his mouth warm and heavy on my low stomach, the crease of my hip, and then, his eyes slanting up to mine, between my thighs, I lean back into my palms, breath quickening as he brushes my underwear aside, presses his mouth to me, and murmurs my name in a low gravel that makes everything in me pull taut.
Panties to the side.
Panties to the side, and a man on his knees.
Absolutely.
2 in 1, baby.
Absolutely. In their kitchen.
on the kitchen floor.
They fuck on the kitchen floor.
So good. So first,
Allie Hazelwood's done this at the kitchen sink before, which was hot.
so good.
This is
from Allie Hazelwood. He turns me by the hips, pushes me against the counter, and wedges himself between my thighs, teasing me until I'm practically crying, pushing myself back against him, pleading with him. So it first starts out like she's turned around over the counter, and then they like move
Come on.
Yes. And then we're on the kitchen floor.
We have one request.
Yes.
Turn us around.
Turn us around.
Turn us around and then put
Treat
us on the
us
floor.
respectfully disrespectfully.
Yes.
little disrespect.
And then we're on the kitchen floor and he's biting me and I'm licking him and my thighs are wound around his waist and our skin is slick with sweat and his hips are bucking into me like I've wanted, like I've needed.
Yes. He says that too. He says that I want and need.
Yes.
Which is
She says it out loud. She's like, I realized I
Delicious.
said it out loud when he said it back.
Yes.
To me.
Yes.
Sweet.
they're falling in love.
Yeah.
They're realizing
I love it.
what's the saying? You realize why it didn't work with anybody else. Like to come off the heels of such long-term relationships and then have such a meaningful connection with each other. It's like, oh, this is why it didn't work with anyone else. Like, oh, this is what this is
what
supposed
it's
to feel
supposed to
like.
feel like.
This is what it is.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
love.
So our third act-ish breakup happens. This also made my chest hurt only because I I don't like to depend on people, and then when you do and they don't follow through, it's very painful. So she is expecting him to pick her up from the library, and she he's usually late, and so when he doesn't show up for the first half hour, she's like, well, he's probably just running late. Then an hour goes by and he's still not there, and I was like, I think I'm gonna throw up. And so she texts him. Well, then she starts to think that maybe he got hurt, maybe
She's
he's
really worried about
she's worried about him. And she texts him.
horrible.
Oh, it's horrible.
Yeah, this is terrible.
Because Emily let us make assumptions.
Yes, she did.
Yeah.
Yes,
Well, because I did. I was like, is she about to do this right now? Is she about to make me hate Miles right now?
Because we all hated him for a while.
I was
because
like, oh, no.
Daphne was hating him.
Yes.
Because we all assumed, not to spoil it, you're about to say it.
God.
Yeah.
Well, but what we thought was happening, because Peter comes and finds her and is like, oh, I want to be with you. I've only
goes to her house.
Yes.
knocks
Oh,
on the
yes. That's
door.
what I have right here.
wanted to fucking
Yeah.
slaughter him.
She thought it was like DoorDash or something. She was like, what is deliver?
She had texted him.
Yeah, she texted him and was like, hey, are you going to pick me up? And he was like, he just texted her back, something came up. And I was like, oh my God.
With no further explanation.
It made my chest
She
hurt.
has already said so many times, I feel like I'm always the second choice. I feel like I'm never important enough to be someone's first choice.
Right.
Something better always comes up.
Right.
Because we're
So
going
for
through this.
him to say that.
Yeah.
Something came up.
It is
Sir.
Because she's going through this with her dad. This is a parallel process that we don't superemphasize here, but her deadbeat dad is involved, and she's been really open with Miles about what it has felt like to come in second fiddle to her.
He watched it happen. I mean, he did. He came and visited, and they did all their stuff with her. Starfire. And all that. Starfire.
Yeah.
And he was like, sorry, kid. Got a blast.
Yeah.
Literally.
And it really, so the grief, that was pretty good.
Yeah. So as she is upset about Miles not showing up, she's ordered dinner. She's in her apartment, and the door knocks, and she thinks it's her food, but it's Peter. And she opens the door, and he's like, "Hey, I want to get back together. I'm so sorry."
Ew.
Boo.
Fully
Boo.
expecting that she will
was
take
just
him
waiting.
back.
That she was just chilling, waiting for him to come
Literally. He's like, oops, Petra and I broke up. So, anyway, I'm back now.
back. Yeah.
And that was wild. The assumption.
Yeah, and he's like, also, I mean, Miles is helping Petra move out of the house right now, and she's like, what?
I wanted to cry.
I was crying.
I was
It was
picking
terrible.
out bacon at Kroger, and I was physically
At 3 speed.
ill.
How did you even hear it?
Terrible.
Almost 2.5. But I was physically, ill.
Yeah,
that was
but-
devastating.
There are times when, we read these and we get so frustrated with the female main character for either not understanding, not communicating, and all the things. I deeply loved Daphne because you see her change from the beginning of the book to the end of the book.
Yeah.
Her character development is wild.
This is where her character becomes a true dynamic character, and even though I was sad, I was just eating this up. So at the end of chapter 31, Even in this bleak moment, I feel a spike of something cool and bright, hope or relief or a tiny tendril of joy, the thinnest silver lining of a jet black cloud, because he's wrong. I don't want to be a part of the wrong we. I'd rather be on my own, even if it hurts right now. Someday I'll be okay.
Someday I'll be okay.
Goodbye, Peter.
I don't want to be a part of the wrong we.
Yeah.
Because that was the thread throughout, was just, and Ashley pointed it out, just like you just want to be a part of a we.
Yeah.
You don't have an identity
You don't know how
yourself.
to be you.
It was always you and your mom, and then you and Peter. And so she was, and Ashley was right on. She was like, you don't know how to be just a you. And it's tough. I mean, depending on your relationship status and what you live through, it can feel, you can get so focused on love and belonging and on like connection that you lose touch with like, oh, but like, who am I?
Yeah.
What do I want?
What do I
Who
like?
am
What
I?
do I
Who
need?
am I? Where am I going? What do I want? And so for her to have the courage to, after all the grief we've heard from her with Peter, for her to be like, no, I couldn't be me with you because you didn't care.
Yeah.
You just wanted me to.
You made me eat wheatgrass and go to the gym with you every day.
Well, because he just absolved her into his life like an accessory,
Yes.
which is why he's going to die alone. And so
And we hope so.
we hex him.
That's right. Yeah, someday I'll be okay. Someday.
That growth and confidence, which it was connection with Miles and her own
Yes.
her own work that helped her get there. That was beautiful. But so we're all still assuming that Miles is literally with Petra at this moment, because it's said a couple times now that if they ever break up, and fucking Peter said it there, that Miles is going to get back with Petra if they break up.
I did have a hard time with it because I even like, I knew, I was like, there's no way they're getting back to, like, I knew there was no chance that's what it was, but even still, I was like, I just don't even like that he went.
Yeah.
Like, even still, I don't even care about his reason. Like, when he was like, oh, oopsies, I still care, I was like, Daphne's a better person than I am,
Yes.
because I would have had a hard time forgiving him for that.
I think I would have.
I wouldn't have liked it.
I hold grudges so
Same.
deeply.
I would have never forgotten it.
I would have just remembered. I would not.
I might have moved on, but I wouldn't have forgotten it.
Yeah. Remember that time?
Yeah.
It was pretty.
When
Miles. It
you
was-
left me to go help Petra move? Interesting.
That's not the only place he was.
I still would have been mad.
Yes.
I wouldn't have gotten over it.
Yeah. So where else he was actually super fucking sweet, which did make me cry.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
He-
It's very sweet.
in order to try to make it up to her, he like went to wherever her dad went and was like, hey,
2 hours, yeah.
Yeah, he drove 2 hours and was like, hey, what you did was fucking shitty. You need to come back. You need to apologize. And her dad was like, she doesn't care about that stuff.
I know
never
my
allowed
kid.
her
I
to
know my
care.
kid. You don't know my kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've never known her, actually.
Correct.
You don't know her at all.
Yeah.
She does have a super sweet relationship with her mom. She talks to her on the phone.
Yes.
Her mom's just doing CrossFit. She's living her
I
best
want to
life.
think about her
Yeah.
mom's life. I'm like, oh my god, she's a
for
badass.
her.
Yeah. And so she is basically saying, I don't know who I am. I don't know who I want to be. I think I hurt my friend Ashley. Miles is gone. I broke up with Peter. I still have this fucking wedding dress in my closet.
That's pretty funny.
My wedding closet.
Yeah.
Just comes tumbling out.
Yeah. Let me try this on.
So her mom says, you, my girl, are whoever you decide to be, but I hope you always keep some piece of that girl who sat by the window hoping for the best. Life's short enough without us talking ourselves out of hope and trying to dodge every bad feeling. Sometimes you've got to push through the discomfort instead of running.
The optimism, the beauty. Like, yeah, you got to push through the discomfort instead of running.
Yeah.
When to stay and when to go. It really is, I think often of the serenity prayer.
Yes.
God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, change the things I can, and have the
Yes.
wisdom to know the difference. And that is a daily
Reminder.
struggling. Yeah, like how it depends. But yeah, her mom empowering her daughter's sense of self and like, I want you to be your own person. And
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But
there's
she
such a
knows her.
wisdom.
Yeah.
It made me think like some women who have been single moms and experienced divorce and made choices and self-actualized. I admire them so much because I feel like they parent in such a different way. Healthy ones are parenting in such a different way because they, especially parenting their girls in a different way.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, be your own person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have your own bank account.
You don't have to do that.
Yeah. Know yourself.
Yeah.
Make mistakes.
Yeah.
I loved her mom, and that
Your mom was beautiful.
specific quote makes me think of I think it's in the Reputation Stadium tour where she has a monologue right before Getaway Car where she says like, may your heart always remain breakable but not by the same hand twice. So it's like, she's like,
Yeah.
I really hope that you can hold on to this girl who used to dream and be hopeful and look out the window, but like also like I hope that you can move on from things and you know, not give people the power to hurt you more than once.
I want you to be healthy and well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was some sage, whew, some mothering there. It was really beautiful.
So we're
like, oh my God, is she ever gonna, Miles, where's Miles? What's gonna happen?
Yeah, so Miles comes back and he has been driving and he's like, I wanted to get this thing for you so I could make it up to you, this big grand gesture. Because Miles is also figuring it out. He doesn't really know how to be a person. Like he's still working through his own shit.
And he takes ownership over it.
Yeah.
And he apologizes and he's like, yeah, I fucked that up.
Yeah, so they do work it out, and she actually moves out of his apartment. She's like, I'm actually gonna go.
I loved that.
I'm gonna go live on my own. We're gonna be together, but I'm gonna live in my place, and you're gonna live in your place, and we're gonna date.
That's a genuine
He shows up at her
relationship.
readathon.
Yes,
He
he shows up at the
He was
readathon.
like, because all of the volunteers got sick.
Yes.
So, which is a terrifying thing if you're in charge of an event.
Oh,
And so
yeah.
Ashley's
No,
like,
and
don't
she'll
worry,
run
I'll take
through
care
me.
of it. I'm going to go get somebody. So she just goes and gets all these people. And Miles is like, I was always going to be
I was
here.
gonna be
I
here
was
no
always
matter
going
what.
to show up for you.
Yeah.
And which is all she ever wanted.
Yes.
And,
Just wanted
and
somebody
then
to be
he also
present.
went to some of the other community members and was like, come on, we got to go help
Because he
Daphne.
knows folks. And so it was flooded with yes.
And she
having
was just
coordinated
so
volunteers.
people showed up for her. I mean, that's all.
Yeah.
That's literally all.
That's all she
I'm
ever
gonna
wanted.
Cry on the bus. All
Yes.
she wanted was for people to just know her, to just show up for her because they just wanted to.
To
It's like,
show up
not
for
because she
her.
had anything to offer.
Yes, in the same way that she shows up for other people and
Yes.
cares for them to just generously be like, yeah, we love you, we believe in you, we're here. That
Yeah.
was stunning.
I felt
and
it
she
so
was
deeply.
choking
Yes.
up when she
And
was
showing
talking to the
passionate-
volunteers.
And showing passion about something that she deeply cares
Yeah.
about. Like she poured her whole heart into this project for this little library in this small town, and she's like,
She believed in it.
Yes.
And other people, whether or not they cared about the library, they believed in her.
Yes, and that's what she.
I've had that. I am in Enneagram 2. I felt it very deeply. But,
Yeah.
but like I've had that conversation before where I was like, I understand that people show, love and affection differently, and I love that. Like I love
Yeah,
that
there's a place for
love
it.
like I love acts of service. Words of affirmation are fine, but I really love acts of service. I love quality time, stuff like
Yeah.
that. And so it's like I just can absolutely accept love in the way that you prefer to give it, but sometimes
Can you speak my
I
language?
want people to show up for me the way I always show up for them. Like on a
Yeah.
holiday or on my birthday, I want you to do for me what I always do for you. I
Yes,
want you to show up
100%.
exactly the way I always do.
Ooh,
And
yeah.
like, and I just love that. All the other days, that's totally fine. Like we can do our thing, but
if
I want you to show up for me
wanna-
this way.
If it's about me,
Yeah.
can we do it? Can we speak my language?
Yep. I want you to go over the top. Like I love an over the top celebration. I want you to go over the top
for me.
Yes, yes.
It's
I love it.
so, and the way that Miles is like, there was no question. Like, I'm
Yeah.
here for you.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
you.
I feel
Anyway,
it so
okay.
She was
I
crying
was in a
the
full
club.
cry. Yeah,
We were all
I
crying
was
in the
not
club.
doing well.
It was stunning.
I love
Yeah.
it. I love it.
I could just cry thinking about
did.
it.
I felt so
the
good inside.
birthday party that you
Same.
threw for me at the beach. Like, just,
Oh, that was so fun.
Yes.
yeah. I mean,
We're gonna do it again.
Yes. Well, I don't have expectations. But
that was what made it so fun, was to know that like it didn't have to be perfect. It wasn't about it being perfect. It was that like, oh, this would be so special for Katie to know, like we thought of this.
yeah,
That's exactly what it is.
That's
It's
exactly
the fact that you
She would
planned
love-
this.
Yeah.
You thought ahead to do this.
And honestly, it was a Eras Tour theme, and we had just been to the Eras Tour. But like, I
It's so
wasn't
fun.
like a diehard Swiftie yet. Like, I mean, I knew enough to like know enough. But it was, I'm sure, like looking back, I'm like, I know we missed stuff. I didn't do it perfectly, but you were like, oh my god!
I mean,
Yeah, it's the thought.
The pictures of your face that morning.
yeah,
You're like,
I'm like literally crying.
Yeah.
yeah.
this birthday
It's
brunch
just
is
being
for me.
being thought of.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, it
Just being thought of and being known in that way.
I love other people so big that it's just so
Yeah.
like flabbergasting when people do it for me.
Yes.
Yes.
It's reciprocal. Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
It's so sweet.
Okay, so at the end of the book, we are getting our happily ever after, and this whole
Yeah.
I want to read the whole thing, but it's pretty long, so I'll just the part that I underlined. It just feels like the end of a movie where like we're all in the theater and we're crying, and
Oh,
it's just
totally.
happy tears.
Oh my god.
Yes. We pull back smiling, our foreheads resting together. We smile and breathe and touch one another and dream about the future without saying any of it out loud. Summer turning into fall, trips with Ashley and Mulder to the apple orchards on an hour south, bonfires with Julia as the air chills and the leaves blaze into color, poker nights with cigar smoke thick in the air, and long morning walks with hot chai from Fika in hand. And even the hellish cold of winter, a new apartment complete with a gas fireplace, bundled hikes through feet of snow, Miles and I slipping out of our clothes and under the sheets to warm each other, and things I can't dream up to, the way it will all go wrong, and the beauty that can only happen in the wake. The second act I fell into, and the home I chose as much as it chose me. It can't wait. I can't wait, and I can't wait for this whole new world I've invited to surprise me.
Right at the club.
And she says, I texted in invisible ink this to Katie, and because she talks about how
I did when they
loving
sent it.
him makes her feel brand new. She was
Yes.
like, I love him like it's brand new, and I was like, it's like rip.
Yes.
Fine.
Well, and the way that
I was crying.
when they end it, and he's like, I know you love telling this story.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's how it started. That's how the book started.
Yeah.
Yes.
Peter would always take over and tell the story.
Peter loved telling the story.
Yeah.
It's a funny story,
And
actually.
she even tells herself, she's like, I loved the way he told it.
But
Like,
yeah, but
it was
because she was
fine.
a
I loved
we.
the way he told it.
But now she's a her, and
Yeah.
Miles empowers her to be fully herself.
Yes, the very last line of the book is,
come on.
funny story, he says, but he doesn't go on. He just watches me and waits. He knows how much I love to tell it.
So good.
The power.
He just really knows her.
the power
Yeah.
of a
Not because
beautiful.
he owns me, because he really,
Really
knows
knows
me.
He really knows me. The power of a beautiful partnership to empower you to be more yourself is
Yes.
just
Yes.
It never ceases to amaze me. It's why we're obsessed with love. It's why it's so magical. It, like the power of a relationship to heal and to help you be more you instead of like just morphing into a relationship. It can just be love is love is love.
Yes.
Love matters, and this is why. And Emily Henry has just done it again.
Yes. I just
Again.
wanna hug this book
I do. I
to my
did.
chest. Yeah.
I did hug it.
I love it. And Emily Henry, this is her apology letter to us.
It really is.
My bad.
Like, I'm sorry. I tried
My
something
cheeks
new.
hurt.
Yeah. It was truly I haven't been that happy about a book in a while.
Yeah.
And we'll rate it in a second, but the smut was gorgeous when it was there, and it was markedly less than a lot of books we've read, but
Sure.
like, it did not bother me one bit.
And I still but when it was there, it worked infinitely more.
Oh, yeah.
I was so just deeply invested. And so
Because I
anytime
was
they
in
ever
love.
even touched each other, or when he was looking at her.
Yes.
When she would moan
Yes.
about pizza and
Yes.
I was like,
Or like they
Their
would share.
banter. I mean, just all of
Yes.
it.
They would share these like secret smiles anytime she would take a bite of something. She would look over at him like,
Yeah, those little moments
Yes.
matter.
it's the love. Yeah, you
They
love
had
this.
the best
Yeah. Oh,
back
yeah,
and
that-
forth too. Just the best
The
banter.
connection.
Yeah.
It's connection.
He brought the coffee and then she didn't drink it, but then the next time he was like, "Oh, it's a
It's
chai.
chai.
It's a chai."
He remembers.
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
so cute. He saw the
fucking
he saw the
cares.
cup and he was like, oh, that's the place she goes. And he didn't know that it wasn't coffee, that it was tea.
So the second time, yeah,
So the
I
second-
was
Yeah.
driving going, "Oh,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's the alchemy. It's like he puts the action, like it's the chemistry of
Yeah.
all this is delicious,
Mm-hmm.
but he puts the action to it.
Yeah.
It was
And
just
she-
the MMC.
And she was
versions.
always so surprised when he ever did anything like that, because he paid attention, he made a note, he's like, okay, she goes to this coffee place.
He sees her as an individual human.
Yes. And he's like, oh, I brought you coffee because like I was going anyway, and this is the coffee place you go to. So
yeah." So observant.
Yes,
Love.
that thoughtfulness is your favorite form of
Oh yeah, yeah. I wouldn't need anything of the
the
poke
sexy.
me, touch me around him. None of that.
I would just be head over heels just because
honestly,
he
I
cared.
think
Yeah.
maybe you would feel
Yeah.
that way after that stuff happened to you.
It's the demisexuality.
Yeah.
It's the you gotta have a connection
Yep.
first,
Yeah.
And then once that happens, it's hot.
Yeah.
that is a fun way.
Yeah.
That makes sex infinitely
Yeah.
better.
Yes.
Yeah.
You have a deep
The
connection with the
relationship.
person.
Oh my god, it's
So you can let down the walls.
Yes.
That's why
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
have a long-term relationship.
Yeah.
It might be because I was
fucking
probably
magical.
listening to it too fast, trying to wrap it up. But didn't get to the end where they were still talking about like her job, and
Yeah, that's right.
I remember thinking towards the very end, I'm like, is this not going to end well? Like I remember thinking,
Oh, I was worried.
like,
else.
yeah,
Because
I
she
remember-
interviewed for that job in another city or near
Yeah.
her mom.
But what I loved is that highlighted her own apartment and the choosing. it highlighted the fact that she chose it now. She made that city her own.
This is my town now.
Yeah.
She made it hers, and it's just such a. I feel that moving back to this city is I'm like, no, I'm choosing now. I'm making it my own in my own shape and size in my own way, and it's just such an empowering. She's a whole person now.
Yeah.
And Peter's miserable, which makes me the most happy.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's really great.
I'm just gonna need Peter to be
miserable the whole time.
I hope Peter decides to move out of Waning Bay because it's not his anymore. It's not his anymore.
Belong to him.
No.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay. MMC Miles. So Streets and Sheets.
Oh my gosh, Sheets.
In the
Sheets are 5.
He's a 5.
Like Sheets where he did everything.
He knew exactly what he was doing.
Great. That was delicious. Streets, a man in progress.
A man in progress, and that is
would take
completely
ownership.
okay.
You know what? He would take ownership over his stuff.
Yeah.
He had said, I'm sorry, I will do better.
He's like, I live in the upside down. I don't know. I don't understand myself.
I'm learning.
Trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
It just goes to show we don't expect perfection.
Right.
We just expect personal responsibility.
Exactly. Yeah.
None of us are perfect.
Yeah, and he's working through it, and he's not doing it in a way that's harmful to anybody else.
Yeah, he's harming himself sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gosh. And like green flag to be besties with his little sister.
Oh, so
Cute.
sweet.
Come on.
I loved Julia.
Yes.
She was just chaotic neutral running around.
Chaotic neutral. Truly. It's chaos to the core.
Yes.
But no, I would say, I don't know, 4.5 in the streets just because he's still figuring his shit out, but taking responsibility.
Once he fixes himself, he's a 5.
His connection with his community was really beautiful to me.
Yes.
I love that. Being
Everybody
married to a
loved
golden retriiever, I really appreciate that.
Green
quality.
flags all around. Everyone was like, "Oh, you're with Miles? Oh, then like
You're good.
You're
No,
good.
Miles
We love you.
is-
Yeah, Miles is
Yeah.
great.
Miles is our favorite.
Yeah, like if you've got Miles as stamps of approval, then we trust him. Yeah,
I love it.
I love that.
beautiful.
I love it.
Okay.
Daphne, I adore her.
I love
Yeah.
her.
As I identify so deeply with her.
Yeah.
A 5.
I do.
Because you give yourself a 5.
Yeah, I did. I loved her.
Yeah,
There were a lot of parts of Daphne that I feel like were deeply relatable to a lot of folks. And especially coming off the heels of such a horrible breakup.
Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, been there. Been there, my dude.
She needed to listen
Been
to. She needed to just lay on her back and listen to Torture Poets Department.
Truly. Torture Poets Department would have ministered to her heart.
Oh, it would.
Administered.
Ministered.
She would have been marching right alongside Taylor.
All by myself.
Yeah.
Miles could have done his thing and she could have done hers.
Yeah, I loved when she went to make reparations for when she hurt Ashley. She went to her house while she was gone and started painting and was blasting like Adele's Saddest Hits while she's painting the bedroom hot pink.
So good.
love it.
So good.
Yes. So everybody's healing.
Yes.
This was a healing book. This is really
I
beautiful.
loved it.
The rupture and repair of Ashley and Daphne was so real.
Yeah.
Because Ashley was deeply hurt. And
Yeah.
she's like,
And she
hey,
was real about it, which I appreciate.
you let me down. And like, I expected it, but also like, I don't think that I can move past this right now. And then they slowly like were able to work through it. It just felt such like a real, how you really work through things when you're with friends.
These relationships were real. That's what Emily Henry does really well. Is the reason we relate is because these are real people. Real people
With real feelings.
situations.
Okay, so plot.
The plot.
The plot.
Yeah, that's what it is. The plot
plot
and
now.
the smut content of this book.
The plot and the smut.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the plot is a 5 for me.
This is one of those really like, oh, I actually give a damn.
I'm here for.
Yeah.
I'm here
I
for the
give a
plot.
damn.
I
Actually,
give a damn. This was, I feel like, an excellent story with great smut.
Yeah.
This I feel like was story first.
Story first.
Which like a story I actually cared about, which is saying something.
Yeah, I feel like the smut was definitely second to the like
Which
it
is
was.
saying something.
It was.
Yes.
It added to the story,
Yeah.
but it was not
It's just
necessary
like
for
it
the
was
story.
supplemental. It was
Yeah.
just
Which
thrown in
I
there.
feel like is what she does really well
Yeah.
for people who aren't necessarily smut folks. Like they can skim it if they're insane. They can flip past the smut. Which
Yeah.
I to each their own. No shade.
I had a
but
magnifying glass.
But like yeah,
Give me that smut.
over and over.
Yes.
But yeah, it's the smut. The smut when it is there. I mean, I would put maybe 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
4 chili peppers.
I mean, yeah, the descriptions of the smut is beautiful and so hot. But I mean, it's just not very much of
Yeah,
it.
I wanted
Yeah,
more.
if you're looking for just like
Your
a
book
horny,
club will
a horny,
probably like
horny
this.
smut,
Actually, that's what we're reading from it.
this would be really
I
good for
recommended
book
this one
club.
to them. I was like, oh, they'll love this.
Yeah.
Okay, this is great for people who aren't necessarily here for smut.
Yeah.
This is a good one.
This is our book for May.
But the smut is good if you. So this
You
is
already read it.
Yeah, I know, I'm way ahead.
incredible. All right, you have done your homework. But yeah, this is a good. It kind of straddles. It straddles the two categories.
Yes.
Of
See what you did there.
there's some
I mean, this is
romance.
a true like contemporary romance novel, and
It's not filthy dirty. If you want filthy dirty, we've got
Emily
so many
Henry
reps.
is never going to be filthy dirty.
Yeah,
we
that's
don't
not
ever
the point
expect
of
that from
Emily.
her.
No.
Yeah, when you read Emily Henry, your expectations should be like this is going to be beautiful and romantic.
Yeah,
It's not going to
it's
be
cutie.
filthy fucking.
Yeah, but I mean, if you want filthy fucking, we've got
We've
some.
got that too.
Sure do. What would you say, Bean? Would you read?
Oh, I really enjoyed it. For
You
sure.
need to read more Emily Henry.
Yeah.
because this-
Yeah.
If
Beach
you love the
read,
demi, like the falling in love and then
Yeah.
sex, this is excellent.
Yeah.
Because I
You
didn't
would
want to
love
skim
Beach Read.
anything.
Beach Read
so-
is really good.
Oh, you wanted to hear it all?
Yeah, like I didn't want to skim anything.
Yeah.
And I was listening to the end. I'm like, oh. Because I thought she was just going to move back home. I was like, oh, God, no. Please don't.
Yeah.
Don't do this.
That sick feeling of like,
Right.
no, is it going to resolve?
Yeah, the job. And like, oh, because it was towards the very end where they were like, oh, well, I already have this place. I'm like, don't do
I
that.
was in the coffee aisle. I was like, oh no.
Oh, no.
Oh no.
All right. Well, that was Funny Story by Emily Henry.
Cute.
We are so filled with joy and just wonder
Warm
at this
fuzzies.
book.
Warm fuzzies, giggling, kicking your feet.
Always. Thank you all so much for listening. TBD, what we're reading next.
It'll be fun.
We'll let you know.
It'll be fun.
We'll enjoy it.
When we head into Pride Month, look out for some of our
Yes.
LGBTQ plus literature that we've got.
Gay.
Yes.
Gay.
Gay books.
5-star gay books.
That's right.
We love. There's a section at one of our local indie bookstores that has just a whole queer.
Take me there.
It's
Oh, we
so good. So like I love emphasizing LGBTQ plus authors and characters. I think it's very important.
Yes.
This is how we learn. This is how we.
So you've got
We
that.
enjoy.
You've got that to look forward to for Pride Month. Yeah. As always, if you like this podcast, please rate and review it wherever you listen.
us so
Spotify,
many.
Apple, YouTube, Google. Actually, I think it's available everywhere now. And
Send Katie to 5 and anything 4 below, send it to me.
it honestly doesn't matter. Any review, any review actually helps it. So even if you're a man and you hate listening to 3 women and 1 gay man talk,
I don't know.
your
Read it
review
anyway.
is still gonna fucking help.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. This was amazing. Thank you so much for listening.
We love y'all endlessly.
Yes. And until next time, funny story. Bye.
Bye.
We did it.
We did it.